Sup R made me smile. This is sweet. If someone says, I love you, but you're not ready to say it back, how do you respond? We're reading the same book, you're just a couple chapters ahead. That's what my husband said to me years ago when I blurted out my love for him a couple months into dating. Guess he was right though. That's much better than aw, thanks. It's such a creative response. It's smooth as my dude. My boyfriend was ready to say it before me and it slipped out a couple of times. One time he said, that's why I love you, I mean that's why you're a great person. I decided to just make a joke and said, so you don't love me? And his response was, well I do, but not if it's weird. Perfect answer. Similar happened to me. He said, that's why I, and trailed off. At least it was a segue into me saying it because I knew he felt the same way. Edit, not fixing segue because it's amusing. That's awesome, and just for future reference the word is segue. Now I'm picturing that person's BF segueing into them. Fun fact, the owner of Segway died when he rode a Segway off a cliff. When this happened to me, I kissed her and held her and said, I'm not ready to say those words yet, but I know they're coming, basically the same thing, just less theatrical I guess. And yes, the words got there a couple of weeks after that. 4 years later and I tell her about 30 times a day. I know. Han Solo? This is the way. This happened to me with my husband. He said it first and I told him that I was slow at figuring out my feelings, but hearing that boosted my feelings of affection for him. We've been together for 6 years now and I've never loved anyone more. Getting drunk helped me. About 4 months into a relationship I found out my girlfriend likes to listen to whale songs as she falls asleep. I had drank an entire bottle of port to myself that night, so I found this behavior of hers to be rather odd. I let her know that I can sing like a whale and the I love you just came out of me a few times. She thought this behavior of mine was rather odd. She laughed, kissed me and told me to go to sleep. I was as cool as a Labrador with an egg in his mouth. I didn't want to rush her. She's more experienced in relationships than I am, luckily for me, so I trusted her to know what to do. A week later it was her turn to get drunk. She was drinking with work friends in a club and I picked her up later to walk her home. Then she told me, a few times, that she really bloody loves me, like really, and that I didn't understand that she loved me and I'm great. She's also great and I still really love her. OMG, a Labrador with an egg in its mouth, that imagery is precious. They will carry it without eating or breaking it. And that's impressive. Can confirm. Source, sister has a therapy Labrador and he's just about the best animal. Meanwhile my lab would and has eaten a whole egg including the shell, so just PSA to all reading, don't leave eggs where your hungry dog can reach them. My partner said, no you don't. You barely even know me, when I told her that after dating for a month. I said, well apparently that doesn't matter, because I happen to be in love. I told her that a few other times over the next month, when I was feeling it, and with literally no pressure or like hope that she would say it back. I was happy where we were, I didn't need her to reciprocate words. One time about 2 months into dating we were backpacking together and she said, does it bother you that I haven't said it back? I said, not at all. I'm not saying it to hear something from you, I'm saying it because I feel it and I'm not going to pretend that I don't. You know, many people go through their entire lives together without saying those words and they express how they feel in different ways. But to tell you the truth, if you tried to convince me right now that you weren't in love with, I'm not sure I'd believe you. She hated that. We've been together for 6 years now. Did she ever say it? Or are you still waiting 6 years later? Just staying with him and not saying it out of spite. My kind of girl. I love you, and I like you too, buddy. And I love you too, random citizen. I'm not your buddy, guy. I'm not your guy, friend. I'm not your friend, pal. I'm not your pal, chum. I'm not your chum, man. I'm not your man, mate. FedEx driver shout out love you in his way out. I shouted back out love you too. My husband said, you know you are not the only one, right? Do you have a buddy who's also your guy, your friend, your pal, your chum, your man, and your mate? Then like and